All right, awesome. So in today's video, I want to show you how I manage all of my Smartlead inboxes in Airtable and how I'm pulling literally every single data point from my Smartlead and putting it into this Airtable. So I always have a very clear overview on how my inboxes are doing, how they're performing. If they're underperforming, they need to be put on a warm up for a couple of weeks. We need to adjust the settings. And if they're performing well, we can add them to campaigns. So yeah, I'm literally going to show you everything, how I set up this Airtable and how I am setting up these make.com automations. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I got to be rather to the point in this video because LinkedIn, I think the limit on LinkedIn videos is 15 minutes. So I'm going to try to keep it under 15 minutes. But yeah, if you need any help with setting this up, just let me know and I'd be happy to help, because if I want to go into every single module, it's gonna take hours literally. So let's get right into it. So very exciting stuff to get into. So the main problem I wanted to solve for myself is to get a very clear overview of all of my smart lead inboxes and how they're doing, because let's be honest, if you got a couple hundred or even a couple thousand mailboxes in your smart lead, it has kind of become a mess, right? Like, first of all, you don't really know how they're performing at any given time, because these metrics are kind of hidden away, because we got obviously the warm-up repetition, but as you know, this is not very accurate, right? Because let's say it could literally be 100% and still getting like zero replies, or it could be very low, like 80%, and we could still be getting very good reply rates. And honestly, the way I look at this thing is like the only metric that really matters is your reply rate, right? And I'm gonna go into this in more detail in just a second, but like, I don't care about warm up percentage. I don't care about like even placement rate. Like, honestly, the only goal of a mailbox is literally to get replies, right? And if it's under 1%, like, it's underperforming and it's off the team, right? So I want to get rid of that mailbox or put it on warm up. But yeah, I'm gonna go into more detail in just a second. But yeah, so as I was saying, we obviously got a very clear overview of all of our campaign analytics and how our campaigns are doing, how many emails we send, how many bounces, how many replies. But you never really know in Smartlead how one single inbox is performing at any given time, because they're kind of hidden away if you want in global analytics, but you can see it on a per campaign level, but you never really know on all the campaigns combined how an inbox is doing. Like, I like I don't know a way how to do that. So it was never really clear how my inboxes are doing. And second of all, like I say, is it's just a mess, right? Like, if you got hundreds of mailboxes in here, like, you never really know, like, if you want to adjust your daily sending limit, or if you gotta enable warm up. Like, it was just such a hassle to go through all of these, even with a VA. Like, I just wanted to cut all that stuff and just get very clear metrics. If they're underperforming, I'm automatically updating my sending limits based on how they're doing. But I'm gonna go into that when I touch on the make flows. So yeah, that's what we're trying to achieve. So let's take a look at the foundation of this. So the Airtable itself first. So this is obviously a dummy Airtable, and I just put a couple metrics in here real quick just to show you. So we got the email address, we got the email sent within the last 14 days, we got bounces within the last 14 days, replies in the last 14 days. So I know how they're doing in the short term. We got bounce percentage, reply percentage, last 14 days. These are just formulas, right? We got whether or not they're active, if they're currently active in a campaign, or if they're inactive, they're currently just chilling on warm up. Last status change. So once this went from active to inactive or from inactive to active last time. Warm up repetition group. So got a couple groups here based on the warm up repetition. We got warm up status, so active, inactive. We got inbox ID. We got the client. We got a setup. So in case you're wondering, like I'm keeping track of like every single mailbox. Like the first one is the client. Second one is how I set up these inboxes. So this could be which kind of reseller I'm using, or if I set them up manually with a proxy, whatever. So I know literally how they've been set up, and I can also see like which setups are performing well and which aren't. We got daily sending limit, straightforward. We got the ESP. We got the date the inbox has been added to Smartlead. We got the domain. This is just pulled from the email address, and then I can easily run domain blacklist. Now, this is something domain blacklist checks is what I mean. I'm not going to go into the blacklist checks and how I'm doing that because it's going to take too long. Maybe in another video. And then we got lifetime emails, we got lifetime bounces, lifetime replies. So I can spot very clearly once things start to decline. Like I can start to see patterns and how long they've been sending for and how many bounces, stuff like that. So I can plot these out in on graphs on a week by week basis. But again, not going to go into that just for now. So based on this overview, so this big overview, we got two different views. We got underperforming and we got full send, meaning they're healthy, right? And like I touched on earlier in the video, how I'm determining if an inbox is doing well or not is not on warm-up repetition, not on placement rate, but literally the only goal that we put the inbox up for is getting replies. So I'm looking at reply rate. So I put up these filters. So if we send over 100 emails and we got less than 1% reply rate, or if we sent over 100 emails in the last 14 days and bounce percent is over 2%, or the bounce percentage is over 10%, like if something just went completely wrong, even though we sent under 100 emails, then I want to put them in underperforming, right? Because just based on those metrics, that's how I'm drawing the line between healthy and unhealthy. So if they're healthy, that's literally the opposite of the other filters. So if it's if it's under 2% bounce rate, if it's over 1% reply rate, and the inbox is older than 14 days, right? So based on when we added it to Smartly, where's the date, right? Created at, right? Because the first 14 days we're just keeping them on warm up anyway, so we don't have any data. So I don't want to show these younger than 14 days. Hope that makes sense. So that's how the Airtable is set up. Now let's get into these make flows. Again, I'm not gonna go into full detail, but if you need any help, I hope if you're a bit used to make and I explain what I'm doing here from a very high level view, I hope you're able to kind of make your own. But anyway, so this is the first one, right? So getting all these Smartlead inboxes and putting them in Airtable. Now, just a quick side note, I'm running these automations once a week. If you want to do it more, you can, but as you could imagine, the more inboxes you get, this is going to be a bit costly in terms of make automations. Now, I am being as frugal as I possibly can with the make automations by using array aggregators and filtering or pulling data from the array rather than the bundles. If you know about make, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like if you got a couple hundred inboxes, I'm using probably a couple hundred automations for all of these, or I mean, a couple hundred operations would they make on a weekly basis. But yeah, so what I'm doing first is I'm getting all the inboxes we already have in our overview. So I'm pulling the data from the Smartlead inboxes here, and I'm comparing the two here. So I'm checking if it's already in Airtable but not in Smartlead. That means I deleted them from Smartlead. Could be I offboarded a client, whatever, or these mailboxes just got burned and we got rid of them. So then I'm just going to delete them from my Airtable base. If they are in Smartlead already, but not in Airtable, then I'm going to add them to Airtable. And if they're already in Airtable, I'm just going to check if a metric changed. Now, like I said, we want to be frugal with the automations or the operations. So we only want to adjust the settings if a metric actually changed, right? So that's why I'm checking with this filter here. Yeah, so once we put these new inboxes in our Airtable, so this is going to pull our more of our top level analytics, right? So daily limit, ESP, client, the setup because of the tags, right? So this is kind of getting this view right here, these data points. Quick side note here, this API request is not documented in Smartlead's API documents. But if you look up on Smartlead how to access their hidden API, they got a very clear video on how to do that. And yeah, you could potentially figure it out by yourself. But if you need help, just let me know. So right, we got our inboxes in Airtable. Again, I'm checking all of my inboxes and I'm fetching my campaign analytics here. So I got two branches. So this is for lifetime. The top branch is for lifetime analytics. So I'm keeping track of the campaigns I already tracked, and then I'm just always making a sum of all the lifetime emails. So yeah, I'm just keeping all of them here in these, right? So lifetime bounces and lifetime replies once a campaign has been completed, right? So once it's completely done or stopped, then I'm pulling these data points, and I'm tracking the campaign as tracked, so it doesn't go through this automation again and again. Right, and here I'm just checking for the last 14 days. So I'm checking all of the campaigns that did send in the last 14 days, and I am getting the mailbox stats. So this again is a hidden API endpoint from the global analytics. I am seeing if they're active, and then or if they're active, I'm putting the last where is it, last 14 days, right? Last 14 days stats, how they're doing on short-term basis. And if they're inactive, I'm adjusting this right here, right? So putting from active to inactive. Yeah, I got to be very quick here because I got 1 more minute to stay within LinkedIn's limit. I might need to cut it off here. But yeah, anyway, so in this automation, what I'm doing is I'm adjusting my mailbox settings. So I'm getting both views, right? So I'm getting the healthy ones, I'm getting the unhealthy ones. If they're unhealthy, I'm updating mailbox settings, and I'm let's say a mailbox is at 20. I want to adjust daily sending limit back to 10, just so it sends some less volume. And if it is performing well and it is under 20 per day, because that's the maximum nowadays, it's 20, then I am increasing it by 5, right? So 5, 10, 15, 20 eventually. Right? So 10 more seconds. I gotta cut it off here. If you need any help with this, just let me know. And yeah, peace. Cheers.